Julia, you're on fire today, boss. Alex raised his thumb in approval and nodded at his employee, clearly pleased with her productivity. Julia gave a soft smile and lowered her eyes. Part of her was genuinely flattered by the praise, but another part, driven by fury, kicked into high gear. That's how it always worked for her. When she was angry, she poured all that energy into her work to keep from burning up inside. And today, she was especially furious. The reason? Her dear husband, who had nearly driven her to a nervous breakdown the night before. God knows she had come close to filing for divorce. The only thing stopping her was the thought that this mess hadn't been going on for that long. And, after all, she still loved him. They'd had 3 wonderful years together. Sure, there were the occasional arguments, but nothing like this. The recent changes were unsettling, and the more she thought about them, the more certain she became that someone had turned him against her. She had her suspicions, but as the saying goes, no proof, no crime. Still, she was 99.9% sure she was right. Everything started about 6 months ago, right when Alex's estranged brother suddenly showed up in town. In Alex's family, this man was like a loose cannon. His mother held a grudge. His brother cut all ties with him, and even their father didn't want to hear his name. Years ago, he'd put the whole family through hell, then disappeared abroad for 5 long years without telling a soul where he went or when he'd return. He ignored all calls and messages, leaving everyone to wonder if he was even alive. Turns out, he was very much alive, and brought along a foreign wife, settling in his parents' apartment unannounced. Julia had always had a decent relationship with her in-laws. Maybe not overflowing with love, but there was mutual respect, and they never fought. When the prodigal son returned, the family welcomed him and his wife with open arms, no questions asked. They were just glad he came back and seemed to have grown up, got a job, and married a seemingly pleasant woman. Alex, who used to visit his parents often, now started spending even more time there. I haven't seen my brother in ages, he told Julia. I missed him. I don't even remember why we fell out. At first, Julia didn't mind. He was visiting, so what? But soon his behavior started changing. He began picking fights over the smallest things, always blaming her. The dinner wasn't right. The laundry smelled weird. The house didn't feel clean. He nitpicked everything. Julia, confused and hurt, didn't know how to respond. She tried not to argue, even when she had every right to. But Alex didn't seem to notice or care about her efforts. The tension kept building. Eventually, it became a twisted pattern. After every fight, Alex would show up with flowers and apologies. Julia hated that. She would have preferred a random bouquet, not one brought after he insulted her and threw cruel words in her face. It gave her a headache, as if she were married to 2 different men. Just yesterday, he came home from his parents' place in a foul mood. Julia was already home, making his favorite dumplings, hoping to cheer him up. She'd even been let off work early. But as soon as he walked into the kitchen, he started his usual rant, how she wasn't a proper wife. Julia stayed quiet, kneading the dough, trying not to engage. But Alex didn't like her silence. Suddenly, he grabbed the bowl of filling and threw it in the trash. Then, he crushed the dough with his hand. I'm sick of you, you hear me? He snapped, loud enough to make Julia flinch. Everyone else has normal wives. Even my brother's wife works and still cooks a full dinner, first course, second, and dessert. Julia slammed her palm on the table. So what, you jealous or something? She snapped back and stormed out of the kitchen. That night, she made him sleep on the couch. She shoved him out of the bedroom and locked the door. In the morning, she had breakfast alone and left for work without a word. Later that evening, as she stepped out of the office, she almost smirked. Standing near the entrance was Alex, with his usual guilt face and a sad little bouquet of flowers. But this time, she wasn't going to let it slide so easily. Taking the flowers without stopping, she walked past him with her head held high, pretending she hadn't even noticed him. Alex followed behind and opened the car door for her. The ride home was silent. They didn't speak a word that evening. And Julia? She couldn't sleep. All night she plotted her revenge. In the morning, she warned him, "I'm stopping by my friend's place after work. Don't wait up," and left. In the evening, as they sat down to dinner, Julia poked at her food without much interest. "Are you still mad?" Alex caught the look on her face and instantly grew wary. Julia lifted her sad eyes to him. "I'm not mad, but when I look at us, I realize we rushed into marriage." Alex's face fell. There was a silent question in his eyes that Julia hurried to answer. "I was visiting a friend today, and honestly, it hurt. She's been married for over 10 years, but it's like they just fell in love. He treats her like a queen, gives her flowers for no reason, helps around the house without being asked." She rolled her eyes dreamily. "While we were chatting, he set the table for us, did the grocery run, cooked, and even brought us tea afterward. A golden man. And here we are, arguing like cats and dogs." Alex stayed silent, while Julia smiled to herself, satisfied. Let him feel what jealousy tastes like. The next day, Julia repeated her little experiment, but this time with even more enthusiasm. "Can you imagine? My friend's husband bought us theater tickets, and he promised to pick me up from work and take me there himself. Too bad you're not like that." Alex looked flustered. "You could have just told me. I wouldn't mind. Of course, I'd have to beg you first, and then you'd yell at me for distracting you from something important. No thanks." Later, Julia returned from the theater with a huge bouquet. "My friend's husband gave one to each of us, said it was to brighten our mood. He even took us to a restaurant. Such a gentleman. I didn't think men like that still existed." "Lucky girl," she replied casually to Alex's question about the flowers. He clenched his jaw but said nothing. Then Friday came. Julia dropped the bomb. "Alex, you're probably going to visit your brother and parents this weekend, right?" "I thought I would, yeah." "Well, my friend invited me to their country house. I think I'll go. Her husband's planning to grill for us, take us to the woods to pick mushrooms, and even promised a sauna and a nice massage with birch twigs. I could use a break." That's when Alex snapped. "Why don't you just go and steal your friend's husband already? Since he's so amazing. You've been talking about him nonstop like a love-struck teenager. Meanwhile, I'm apparently not good enough for you. Maybe you should just divorce me." Julia looked at him seriously. "Unpleasant, isn't it? Being compared to another man by your wife? Well, maybe I will divorce you if you keep acting like an idiot. You were jealous of your brother and compared me to his wife. No guilt there. But now you're mad at me?" Alex fell silent. Deep down, he knew she was right. He had been comparing, even envying his brother. His brother, who always spoke about his wife like she was a saint. Quiet, obedient, never argued. Unlike Julia, who had her own opinions and a strong will, Julia saw right through him and smirked. "Why don't you go and steal your brother's wife like you just suggested I do? Oh, wait, you know why that won't work? Because she'd never treat you the same way." She leaned in. "I talked to your mom, by the way. You know why your brother's wife is so quiet? Because he hits her, keeps her scared, controls her every move." "Liar. Don't believe me? Ask your mom. She's seen it. She told me she and your dad have to pull him off her some nights." Alex was stunned. Guilt washed over him. "She needs help," he said quietly. "Of course she does." For a while, the fight was forgotten. Together, they figured out how to help his sister-in-law escape the tyrant. Turned out she was smart and grateful. She divorced Alex's brother and fled back to her home country. The brother, furious, blamed everyone else, packed his bags, and disappeared without a word. Alex turned to Julia, remorseful. Julia, can you forgive me? I will, but I won't forget. You acted terribly, and I'll always remember it. But I'll give you a chance because I love you. But one more slip like that, divorce, and I go back to my maiden name. Got it? He got it. Oh, he got it all right. From that moment on, Alex never nitpicked Julia again. He made an effort, helped out more, surprised her when he could. Slowly, things got better. Julia let go of the bitterness. And then, their daughter was born. Alex no longer had time to compare or complain. He was too busy being overjoyed at becoming a father. Julia, the woman who gave him such a gift, he treated her like a queen from that day forward. Nothing else mattered anymore.